with reading a novel, and you said I didn't understand the word, and you also said that, is that similar to watching a TV show, which is a work of fiction? Part of the goal of it is to be confusing. It's deliberately confusing. Like in a movie, if you don't know who the killer is in the first second, you wouldn't start crying that you didn't understand it, because you understand that there's a certain amount of uncertainty that's going to be natural in reading a novel, right? Also, you don't really need to understand everything. You just need to understand enough. So we're going to go through that, and you'll see how that's relevant. Now, the first sentence here.
Long.
Yeah, so it's a tigbolet nedefe. You guys know what that means? You can have a sentence that has two parts that are really the same. No man likes to acknowledge that he made a mistake in his choice of profession. Obvious. No one likes to admit he had a bad job. And every man worthy of his name will row against the wind, blah, 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 before he says, I'm baffled, or something.
Exactly.
Now, you don't, even if you don't understand that second half of the sentence, you're really better set up if you just even skipped it, and you just said, no man likes to acknowledge that he made a mistake in his choice of profession. From the first week of my residence in X, I found my occupation irksome. So they set up a deliberate contradiction in the first two sentences. No one likes to admit they don't like their job. I don't like my job.
Is it antithesis?
Not really.
Oh.
Okay. So does everyone see that though?
Yeah.
So and then naturally they ask a question. What was the purpose of the first sentence? Which makes plenty of sense that they would ask that. And the reason is, in your own words first, to what? Why does he do that? To stress how much he doesn't like his job. Right? No one likes to admit they don't like their job. And then he goes and admits it. Look how much I don't like my job. So you see it. It's question 2. And what's the answer to question 2?
B.
B. Did everyone see that? What'd you pick?
I would say, I don't know.
Do you understand it now, though, that I explained the sentences, or no?
Yeah, I was waiting between the two of truth, but I don't know. Yeah.
Edward Crimsworth, do you know who Crimsworth is, or no?
He was the boss.
The other guy.
Right, so that's not a representation of Crimsworth.
He wasn't even mentioned yet.
Right.
I don't know.
So that's not that. Yeah, everyone sees that? Okay, so that's that. What's your name?
Esther.
Esther what?
Obed.
Oh, you look exactly. That's what I was thinking. Okay, cool. During the course of the first paragraph, you're better at math than reading?
What was number 1?
Oh, your brother also.
Jackie?
Yeah. So we'll get back. So what's the answer to 1? Which choice best summarizes the passage?
I did.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey.
How much does it matter?
Everyone got that?
Yep.
Okay, now, the reason why they ask, I just want to show you reasons for some of the choices so that you could see how this stuff works. Competitive, you understand why someone would pick that, but they don't become competitive.
They just hate each other.
Right, it's not a competition between the two of them. D, nah, right? They think optimally because they think the first line, no one likes to admit they don't like their job or something.
It wasn't really
it's not even being optimistic. And publicly and privately, I'm not really sure that I understand. So that's that one. Number 3, they ask for the shift in the first paragraph. So what did everyone pick for the shift?
C.
I did C.
Right, so C is right.
Oh.
Generalization about job dissatisfaction to the specifics. He starts with no one likes to admit that he doesn't like his thing. And then he goes on to say why he doesn't like his thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? So that's that. Okay. The A, recollection of past confidence to acknowledgement of present self-doubt. Where?
Because I thought recollection of past confidence is nobody likes to. Oh no, wait. Sorry, not that. It was from the first week of my residence. Oh no, wait. I don't know. I remember I had something in my head, but I don't know where it was.
Question 3.
Oh.
Okay, so that's that. I also want to show you this. This is interesting. Everyone look up. He says this. He says, the thing itself, the work of copying and translating business letters, was a dry and tedious task enough. But had that been all, I should have borne with the nuisance. So the task of copying letters, right, was borne. But had that been...
What does born mean?
What?
Born.
What?
Born.
Born with the nuisance, I would have tolerated it.
Yeah.
Right? But had that been all, I would have tolerated the nuisance. And then he goes on to say, I would have sucked it up, blah, 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 blah. What are we waiting for in our head with like a ticking clock waiting to hear?
But this happened.
But that was not all. And sure enough, if you actually get that, but this was not all. Right? So boom, you get it right there. And then, so everything in between that is really almost like in parentheses. It's the same thing again and again. You hardly need it. So
But you don't know that when you're reading it.
When you're reading, if you start with, Had that been all, I would have sucked it up. You know for sure it's going to follow it, but that was not
Yeah,
all.
but how am I supposed to know that all that whole paragraph isn't even important?
Because I know I'm waiting in my head. Once I start, had that been all, the ticking starts in my head. But that was not all. Where am I going to see? But that was not all. But that was not all. Until then, everything's going to be the same thing. Had that been all, I would have sucked it up. I would have pent all my frustrations inward. I should have pent my side of the. I should have set up party in my home. I blah blah blah. But this was not
That's what
all.
you did.
So you see, it starts like almost like I have to get to that point. It gives you an end point. Or projects it out into the future. So that's that one. Okay. Number 4, the passage indicates that Crimsworth's behavior was mainly caused by his.
Wait, that's number 5.
Oh, sorry, 4. The reference to shade and darkness at the end of the first paragraph mainly has which effect? This is another purpose question. 30% of the questions you're going to get on this test are purpose questions. Why does the author include this metaphor? Why does he include this sentence?
I did A.
So what we're looking for is,
He was
what's the point of the shade and darkness?
Like he's like stuck.
So go back and read it out loud. Read it out loud.
Okay, sure.
Paragraph.
Yeah, it's like in the second column. Okay, and my employer, striking deeper root and spreading denser shade daily, excluded me from every glimpse of the sunshine of life, and I began to feel like a plant growing in humid darkness out of the slimy walls of the well. He feels pretty confined, doesn't he?
I'm feeling A.
I did
Confined?
Yeah,
Like
meaning-
someone without sunshine, he feels trapped?
Yeah, that's what I was
Why?
thinking.
Where is he trapped though? You see what I'm
Yeah, his
asking you?
job.
Where does it say that? It says that he feels like a plant without sunshine. That means he's trapped. It means that he can't grow. He feels dark. He feels cold. He feels
Yeah, fine,
excluded
but-
from sunlight.
But I thought dismay, like it doesn't. That's not really like such a good thing either, because dismay is like surprise, but like in a negative kind of sense. You feel? So like that doesn't make too much sense either.
What is dismay? Dismay just means
Maybe
unhappiness.
Yes, said.
The extent of his dismay is unhappiness.
So it's A.
Fine.
Right?
I mean, I was debating between the two.
Confinement is just making a bigger leap than dismay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that. Good?
So it's A?
Yeah, so it's A. Does everyone realize why it's not sinister thoughts? A lot of people think
Yeah.
sinister thoughts.
I don't know
Like,
what that
forward.
is.
What does sinister
Evil.
mean?
Evil.
Yeah, sinister is like if the darkness was this plot that he had to kill Crimsworth or
Then it would
something.
be.
That would be a sinister thought. But he doesn't have any sinister thoughts. He's not plotting to kill him or anything like that. Just doesn't like him. Yeah.
D just makes like no sense whatsoever.
So D, yeah, no one picked that today. I know basically I'm like a machine. I know every like choice, the probability of it being chosen, So the passage indicates that Crimsworth's behavior was mainly caused by. So this is a question without a line. The next question doesn't offer lines. So this is literally a question without a line. There's not that many questions without lines. Usually they'll direct you somewhere. The good thing is when it's a question without a line,
You can't get too wrong.
no, more often than not, it's just good. It's a fetch question. Like go find the line, and once you find the line, you automatically get it right. So the question asks, always reword the question. What does the question ask, Obed?
Why is Edward Crimsworth?
Obed.
Passage indicates that
Oh, you asked Obed, sorry.
Caused by his. Why was he being? What caused his behavior? Like why?
Who is?
The boss.
Right, why is the boss being mean? So now go check. So what everyone pick?
D.
B.
Right, so some people, I'll show you a number of mistakes that could be made even if you didn't make them. First mistake is the people that picked A, high spirits. Why do they pick them? This is the misreading that they do. They say, a feeling, antipathy is the word that could express the feeling he had for me, a feeling involuntary, at which he was liable to be excited by every little look or word of mine. Who gets excited there? Crimsworth gets excited by any little thing. He doesn't not like the guy because he is easily excited. So that's the first mistake. No one here made that mistake. The next mistake is they say my southern accent annoyed me. Oh, my background. Obvious. Now the fact that it was a humble background, they don't even consider what that means. What does a humble background mean?
Like it's not spoken about.
He was
I guess?
poor. He was humble. It was,
Low E for that.
Southern does not mean that he had a poor background. People in the South could be very rich.
So it's
Oil wells and whatnot.
Yeah, but usually I feel like they're poor.
In the South?
I
Okay,
don't
good.
know.
So that's why that's not right. They're not poor. So Obed is a victim of a very strong stereotype. An incorrect stereotype. I'm sure that there is some form of income disparity between the North and the South, but I don't think that in general, the fact that he had a Southern accent, I mean, he hated him because he was poor. So that's the mistake that they make. And your mistake is you didn't read far enough. If you kept reading and you got to, had I been
Yeah, that's
in
what I was
anything
thinking.
inferior to him, he would not have hated me so thoroughly.
Yeah, okay, so I saw that, but I thought it was like he wasn't important, so why would he be?
Had I been inferior, if I was inferior,
He wouldn't care.
he would not have hated me. And one more
But
thing,
he's superior.
but I knew and he knew what was worse is he suspected that I had mental wealth, which he was not a sharer of. He knew that I was smarter than him, and that's why he hated me. Okay, fine. So that's that one.
So it's deep.
What?
It's deep.
Yeah. Okay. 5 and 6
Alright,
and
no,
7.
6.
6 and 7 are a pair. Now, how many of you didn't notice it was a pair till after you tried to do 6?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I noticed, but I still probably got it wrong.
Okay, so how are you going to avoid that happening? Just before you do the questions, look at them. I said it last week and I'm going to say it again. Look at them and put a little star.
So before we read the passage, we should also do that, like look at every single question.
Just give a quick look and star the ones that are
Because
simple.
what I do sometimes, if I see it says a word, then I underline that word.
You can do that also.
So.
I'm going to give you a more comprehensive list of what you should do before you get to them. But I'm giving you that for now, and as we build it up and I show you different question types, I don't want to start talking about question types that you haven't seen. Once we know everything that you could ask, I'll give you the strategies of how we're going to approach
What
it.
should you do?
So for now, we're just looking for double questions. Okay?
Mhm.
Now, the passage indicates that when the narrator began working with Crimsworth, he viewed Crimsworth as. Someone rephrase this one.
I would. Tell me.
I don't know.
Oh, sure.
So how did the narrator view? How did the narrator view the guy, his boss?
Miss keywords.
In the beginning.
In the beginning.
Oh, okay.
In the beginning. We all know that, he hated him. It doesn't take a genius to know that. There's not even a choice that says that. So they kind of do you a favor. They don't give you a choice. Demanding mentor, perceptive judge, right? They don't. So that's at least a nice thing that they do. But you have to realize you're going to have to go to the lines to find this. It's almost impossible to know the answer to this without checking the lines. So you go check the lines. Someone spit out some lines that people picked for a
D.
7.
D. I had brother.
D.
Everyone got D.
Good. I got B. I don't know. I got
B.
both wrong.
My southern accent irritated him.
I did C also for 6.
Okay, but my southern accent irritated him. Does that say how the narrator viewed Crimsworth in the beginning?
No.
No, that's not right. So yeah, D is right. Just to show you another one, oh no, there's not here. So yeah, I had long ceased to view him as my brother. Meaning,
Ally.
once upon a time I viewed him as my brother, as a sympathetic ally. I had long ceased. Some
where'd you get
people
that from?
also made this mistake. They saw this, I had long ceased to regard him as my brother. He was a hard grinding master. Strong mentor. That demanding mentor. Obed, you did that?
Yeah. D.
Right? But the key was, how did he view him in the beginning?
The weird thing was I got 6 wrong, but I got 7 right because I thought so. I did A, a harmless rival, because since I felt that he would. I don't really read the question so carefully to see that sympathetic ally was a better
Good. Okay, so we're learning these are things that you learned. You gotta check all the choices out. Obed, you see the mistake you made. These are the common mistakes. You could clean them up. You clean them up, you don't make mistakes, and we